Since 2019, the discussion has surrounded the Airbus A380 and cracks being found on its wings. Airlines before the pandemic were instructed to inspect the world's largest passenger planes, specifically the older airframes, after various cracks were detected on the planes. At that point, Emirates and Qantas, among a few others, were all included in the such requests. The EASA, which acts as the European governing aviation body, has said that the issue could be labelled as potentially unsafe for the aircraft to continue operating. Airbus in 2019 noted that this was not of a concern to the overall safety of the world's largest passenger plane, and that it could operate as normal. However, one thing it did not oppose were further checks, naturally a fundamental part in determining a plane is wholeheartedly safe. The fissures, as they were, could have reduced the overall structural integrity of the wings. In turn, an airworthiness directive was set to be issued. It meant that at the time, the Airbus A380s could, yes, remain flying, but if inspections identified crucial problems, then fixes would need to be implemented at the next available scheduling for maintenance, or not after a certain number of hours flown. This would in turn give the airlines in question additional time to adjust schedules and their overall network, to allow time for the aircraft impacted to have this very fix implemented, if that is what it needed to take place. All these comments I've briefly touched on took place in 2019. That's before the pandemics emerged. However, it's now resurfaced, thanks to a report by Aviation Week, which can be found in the description. They obtained exclusive information from Emirates that 60 engineers are now headed to the airline's hub of Dubai to help deal with the problem. The problem is cracks being found once again in areas of the wings, making the return to service of some of the world's largest passenger planes slower than maybe the Dubai-based airline would have ideally liked, especially as they look towards coping with additional demand that they've been seeing following the return from the pandemic. With time and also progression, Airbus, among others, have found more cracks than they ideally want. They need to ensure that this is not a long-term safety issue, but rather just a small inconvenience for the impacted airlines. If 2019's reports are anything to go by, it's really only a small number of operators that are being impacted, with those of course flying the oldest 380s in their operations. Ultimately though, for the airline that has to have its aircraft inspected, it is an inconvenience to their operations. Additionally, carriers will plan the return of planes to service to coincide with not just one route, but also their entire network, seamlessly allowing for the return of this additional plane, without any inconvenience to passengers, crew, and more. For these plans to be thrown out by such an issue will no doubt cause frustration at the higher level of the business. Cracking parts in planes is not necessarily out of the ordinary. It can be down to several contributing factors, and we have seen it widely happen at both European aircraft manufacturer Airbus and over to American aircraft manufacturer Boeing throughout the years, with a wide range of aircraft, whether it is the largest or the smallest. The main goal of all parties, though, is to resolve any of these cracking issues found on the 380, determine if a fix is required, and get the plane back into service or defect-free as quickly as possible, but also as safely. Now, a thorough process will be undertaken to have a look at just how widespread this issue is on the Airbus A380, and of course whether it is solely impacting Dubai-based Emirates. What are your thoughts? Do let me know down below in the comments. Thank you very much for tuning into this video. Like I mentioned, be sure to check out the full detailed report by Aviation Week, which can be found in the description of this video.